Okay, we're on.
Let's do it.
How are you today, Don?
It's a new year, it's a new beginning, and we're going to have a new state senator. I'm very excited about how everything's shaping up.
You know, what's really interesting too is that it, because it's so fast, because it's so quick,
30 days.
it's just the amount of time that's invested and the amount of people at headquarters has just been incredible.
You know, I was there yesterday. I recorded a spot for you for the robocalls about early voting. And the volunteers who were there are amazing people. And they were doing everything from stuffing envelopes. My daughter in England FaceTime with me. She got an absentee ballot and showed me how she voted for you, which I'm very excited about because she tends to be more liberal than us, but she's young. She'll learn. And the bottom line is there's a lot of people behind you in this campaign.
You know, I find it, I can only look at it as I was with the supervisors campaign, right? And I will tell you that I believe today that our message was bigger than the supervisor position.
Absolutely.
I believe that today it's more critical that we get people in Albany that are speaking on behalf of the people, small businesses, families, about taxes, utilities, all of these things that are happening.
Common sense.
Absolutely.
That's what we have to bring to Albany.
You know, Don, we met with a bunch of fire chiefs. Okay. I won't mention who it was because I want to protect them too. But I will tell you, I met with them and we need to help our firemen. We need to help our police officers.
Absolutely.
We need to make sure that we're doing something in Albany to make sure that we're helping the volunteer fire systems to do what they need to do, as well as the police.
And we have to attract new volunteer firefighters.
Absolutely. And whether it gives us some tax incentives,
I agree.
whether the state pays for the amount of the $5,000 that it costs for the equipment just for them, and it takes a year to do this.
Yeah, they can be trained.
So maybe what we have to do is we have to give them some tax breaks, something that encourages
Some
the young.
incentive.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And after I was with the chiefs, they were wonderful. They really understood and they really believed that we could do something. But you can't do anything unless you're saying something. So that is what we need to do with our politicians right now. And we had this long discussion, and we were talking about MAGA and all this other stuff. And I said, I'm going to tell you something that I want everybody to know today. We already talked about the fact that I would hire a Democrat, a Republican, a conservative, an independent, and a blank. I would hire all of them for my staff. But I want to remind people something. There was a Republican Party before Donald Trump, and there will be a Republican Party after Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
And let me say something to you. I don't agree with the extremes in any party. And I don't agree with a lot of the things that are happening right now. We could talk about health insurance, and we need to make sure that the people that are going to be losing their subsidies, we need to make sure we take care of these people. But I want to say this as well. We got waste, fraud, and abuse that we have to take care of.
Big time.
Big time. But I agree that we have to do something about it. And I'm not afraid to say that. Nor am I afraid to say that I don't think that the bombastic approach to things is the right thing as well. We cannot be afraid. We cannot have this divisiveness that is so prevalent in our state, in our country. And anybody that's promoting that, such as my opponent, that's all he talks about is Democrat, 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 MAGA, MAGA, MAGA.
But we haven't heard one thing what he stands for.
Well, and here's another thing, Don. I've never met the man. How dare you categorize me when you don't even know me?
Yeah.
That's right. I've been servicing people for 40 years, and I've never once asked them what their party affiliation is.
I know. I was in your restaurant the other day. No one asked me if I was a Republican, conservative.
How did we do?
Awesome.
Good. Well, and again, my point to this whole thing is how important is it that we not label people? So when I have an opponent who's labeling people and you don't even know me, guess what? That is the reason why he doesn't have the character to be the person in that job.
That's a big word, character.
Absolutely.
And I've been with you for over a year now with supervisor's race. I've seen you reach out to the people on Grand Island, Tonawanda. The Buffalo Police Union giving you their endorsement is huge. It shows you that they know you believe in law enforcement. You support the people on the blue line. You support the firefighters. It's all common sense. And I want to tell you this. Last night, I've been blessed. I can't tell you the last time I wrote a check because my wife takes care of it. But I happened to see the utility bill. It was $260 for the month of December. Okay, that's high, but I can afford it. I don't like it, but how do other people afford this stuff that aren't as fortunate as my career was? And it's outrageous.
It is. And I think this is the most important thing. I've been writing my bills. I'm here on Saturday, and I usually write my bills on Saturday, and I go through it. Mine was 2,000 for one of my places,
Oh my gosh.
for National Grid. 2,000. Okay? Listen, you don't understand, people don't understand how tragic this really is. You're trying to electrify this particular
Wow.
state,
Unbelievable.
and we don't even have the grid to do it. And this, the reason why it's going up is because we're using more power, and because now it's in demand, and now that's the reason why these things are going up. And let me just tell you, I was reading an article the other day that says nuclear that she wants to do is a pipe dream.
Well, it'll take 10 years to get it
But
online.
it's a pipe dream.
Why is that a pipe dream?
Because to do it, it's going to be very difficult to get it done. Now, that's great. I wish well that this happens. But why are we not letting the people decide whether they want to electrify things?
Yeah.
Why are we not letting them do it?
My son and his wife recently moved into a house in Clarence, and the builder did a nice job. Says we're rushing to get this done before the end of the year so we can give you a gas stove.
That's right.
And I was like, this is ridiculous. Who came up with this idea? And here we are with a major cold snap across the country. Not only in Buffalo, we can handle this, but I heard the network correspondents talking yesterday about this could be a fatal winter snap with the people on electricity. When the power goes out, people are going to freeze to death.
That's right.
And she wants to do away with natural gas, one of the
Right.
cheapest forms of energy that we have in this modern
Right.
day.
Right.
And to me, there's no common sense there.
Well, and to your point, look, I don't mind that we look at renewables. I think it's a good idea for certain things.
I'm
I think
game.
it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Like somebody was just telling me that the diesel buses, schools can no longer buy diesels after to this year. That's it.
I didn't know that.
Yes, and now they're going to go electric.
Oh, God.
Okay, now think about that. When you put any absolute on anything, there's a problem. There is a problem. You're not giving the people enough common sense that if it works, we do it, we get more into it. No. It's almost like we got to force people into we're putting a round peg in a square hole, and it doesn't make sense.
Welcome to New York State.
Right,
I've
right.
been saying that for 50 years.
Well,
I've
and you
been-
said it too. Let's talk about the budget a little bit. Okay. I'm going to say something which I find to be fascinating. Here, I'm going to take no tax on tips. I came out with a press release, I don't know, maybe a month and a half ago, because she was against it. Governor Hochul was against it. Next thing I know, she wants to put it in the 27 budget. I come out with another press release and say, why didn't you do it in 26? Okay. My opponent said, well, I agree with whatever she says. Okay, well, that's that situation. But what does she put in this year's budget? A $25,000 deduction, because she understands. Do you know how many waitresses and waiters and bartenders and hostesses are out there that could use that money?
And they don't make six figures.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this is the stuff that's important and imperative that we're talking about, because I'm out there talking about this, and we talk about this all the time. When I win on February 3rd, our podcast is going to be called 61 for the 61st district, and we're going to make sure that we're talking about all these things all the time. Why? Because nobody else is. I'm sending out a couple press releases. We're getting some play on it. Thank God. Thank God somebody's talking about this, because somebody has to.
I'm hearing a lot of comments and seeing a lot of reports on the 61st district.
That's right.
And everyone's keying in on it. I mean, it's February 3rd is election day. Early voting starts today.
That's right.
And we got to get the vote out because you got a great message. Now, she came out with a $260 billion budget, up from $252 billion the year before. Do you know, in this budget, we also have $14 billion, $14.5 billion in reserve funds. Billion, not millions, billion.
Right.
And she also put in $4.3 billion. And what she says, it's not an austerity budget, she said, but it's a sound budget. You know what that $4.3 billion is for? This will make your whiskers grow. To provide shelter for the illegal immigrants in New York State. $4.3 billion. Dan, I've tried to have common sense like you. I don't want to see my tax money go to illegal immigrants for us to provide shelter for them. We have homeless people for our own citizens we don't provide shelter for them, but she's going to give it to the illegals.
You know, here's what I don't understand about that particular position. She says illegals. Why don't you just say for the homeless, right? Why don't you just say that?
That'd be nice.
Why do you have?
Include our
Yeah,
people
yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
Why do you have to segregate people? Why do you have to be on a divisive?
There you go.
Why do you have to do that?
There you go.
Okay, not one of us, not you or I, would ever turn somebody out, no matter who they are, because we would want to help them.
Absolutely.
They're the ones. This is what she's doing. She's drawing a line in the sand because she wants to pander to the people that she needs votes from.
Well, that's why she came out with the child
That's right.
daycare for children in New York City.
And I'm gonna tell you, I agree with that. I'm glad that she's doing that. Why not the whole state?
Well, that's the big
Why
question.
not the whole state? Why are we talking about segregating this?
You know, my kids are grown. I didn't realize how expensive daycare is.
It's crazy, Don. I have a 7-year-old. It's crazy. My wife is able to stay home with my daughter and be able to drop her off at school and be there. Okay. I'm very fortunate. Okay. My point is, we need this. We cannot be afraid. I cannot be afraid because I told you this before and you know this. I don't care whether you're red or blue. It doesn't matter. It does not matter to me because I service people no matter who you are. This is the kind of stuff where you've got to stand up and say, I like this idea, Governor Hochul. I think it's a good idea. Let's make sure we know where the money's coming from. Let's make sure that we're taking care of the entire state. I'll work with you. I'll do whatever I can. We have to make sure that waste, fraud, and abuse is taken care of. These are sound, common sense policies.
Well, that's one thing I liked about Senator Ort calling for an audit.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Of course, we should be auditing every program. Now let's talk about healthcare. We talked a little bit about that in the beginning of this. Healthcare. I think that we should take care of the people that are on the healthcare right now. Both the Democrats and the Republicans both agree that the Affordable Care Act is not right. It's not working.
It's unaffordable.
That's right. It's not working. Okay. Now, I hope that the people in Washington, the Republicans and the Democrats, both get off their dupa and try to do something to try to figure this out because everybody is tired of this divisiveness that's going on. Okay. And the state, I agree that we've got to do something to make sure that people are covered. Let's put a program in place to make sure that there is no waste, fraud, and abuse. Let's make sure that they're doing their job, doing everything that's happening, right? The most important thing that we can do is make sure there's checks and balances, make sure that we're doing the things that we need to do. Nobody is sticking up for this. I'm going to tell you a story. When I decided to run for supervisor, and before I got the endorsement, I went before a group of 16 people, right? They're asking me all these questions. But before I started, I said, look, I want to make sure you all understand something. If you want a red meat guy, I'm the wrong guy. I was a Democrat, and I'm now a Republican. I'm telling you, I don't feel that any one party is right all the time.
I agree.
And I want to say this too. There was an article in the Buffalo News 2 days ago. More people are leaving their parties and becoming blanks and independents.
52 years I was a blank.
That's right. So that's the point. The point is that's what we have to do. We need to understand that deep down in our roots. And we need to understand that whatever we're doing, it's not about what you think, it's about what they think. It's about what the people think. You're there, you're on rent. That's what you are. You're a rental. And you're there to rent, to act on behalf of the people. That's your job. Okay? You can have an opinion, but the moment that your opinion is not what the majority wants and what these people, you need to stop and recognize it and be big enough to say, you want to know something? I was wrong. We should be doing it this way. Our constituents have spoken. And now this 61 district, they don't even have a clue what they're in store for. When I went on February 3rd, we're going to make sure everybody knows everything that we're doing so we're getting feedback. And by hiring all those different affiliations in my office, we're going to know what all people want. And I hope we make so much noise in Albany that they start acting because we are on top of it.
Well, I hope the lawmakers in Albany realize that many New Yorkers are voting with their feet and they're leaving this state.
That's right.
And the population keeps going down every year.
That's right.
And you can go to Albany and you can go to New York City and drink that Kool-Aid, But when you start missing what the people in upstate New York are feeling and what the needs are of the people here, high taxes, unbelievable. You've got high utility bills now. Everything's going up. And the key word they're using now is affordability. Well, if you put a political boss in the 61st seat in Albany, which is what the Democrats are proposing, and it's not the Democrats as much as he, the one man, is proposing, it's not right.
He's the only one who had a No Kings rally. His own party called him a king.
No Kings rally. I know it.
That's right. But you're right. To your point, you're absolutely right. I want people to use common sense today. I want them to look at the character of the person that we're talking about, both of us. I want them to go out there. 14,600 people came out and voted for me for supervisor. I'm asking all those and then some to come out and make a change, make a difference. Because Don, I know this is going to sound strange. What an honor to be able to represent the people of New York. There's only 63 senators. What an honor. My job is to go out there and service the people. It would be overwhelming to be able to have that honor to do that.
Well, people know that I'm supporting you. Right. And I've had people reach out to me on personal phone calls, on Facebook, and they want to know if you're having another fundraiser. And if you're not, they're going to write a check. But if you are, they want to attend. Now, your fundraisers have been fun.
Yeah.
And the state senators in the area, local Republicans come out. Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
When is it?
Tuesday, January 27th at Rizzo's on Eggert Road.
Okay.
Okay. So it starts from 5:30 to 7:30. And I want to encourage people to do their homework. I want them to vote. I want people to vote. I really do. I want people to come out and I want them to do what their heart tells them to do. Because look, this is a big deal. This is a very big deal. My opponent stacked the deck for himself. He did it like blatantly.
But he's paying the price within his own party.
Yes. They're all fighting him.
Yeah.
There's an $800,000 pack against him. So he's got his own issues. We're also having a forum at UB on January 29th.
I did not know this.
From 6 to 8. The League of Women Voters, we're having a forum. They don't call it a debate. They call it a forum.
The two of you are going to face off?
Face off.
You're going to eat his cake.
Well, but you want to know something? I'm going to go out there and I'm going to be honest. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to take, my father always told me, you know how you handle a bully? Head on. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm hoping that he makes this a very personable, a very spirited debate, and we can talk. Because when I was with Sean, he was very nice. Sean Lavin, it was a great interaction. I really enjoyed it.
It was the high road.
It was the high road. And I hope that we can do this, be civilized, and go out there and act like men and do our job and answer the questions that people ask of us.
Well, I think, Dan, that people who get to know you realize you're a man of common sense. You're a businessman. You don't need this aggravation. You really don't. But the fact that you're willing to do it speaks volumes, because so many people sit on the sidelines and say, I don't want to get involved.
Right.
Right? You're willing to make the commitment and try to improve the quality of life for the people in the 61st district. What more could people ask for? I don't know a voter, I don't care what party they're affiliated with, how they wouldn't be attracted to a candidate like you.
But Don, I want to say something because I think that you hit on something. I've met some of the most sincere and genuine people, Democrats, Republicans, all alike. I had a Democrat committee person endorse me this morning, and it's happening within their own party because I was able to have a conversation and I was able to calm her fears that I was this red MAGA person. And I said,
That's not you.
It's not me. And I will not allow Jeremy to paint me that way because he doesn't know me. He doesn't know what kind of man I am. He doesn't understand the integrity by which I live by. So I'm going to take huge offense to anybody that questions my character. Huge offense to it because that's not me. That's not who I am. Ask me questions. I went to NPR yesterday. Okay. We had an interview. Jeremy was before me and then I went. I was there for 45 minutes. We talked about everything, Don. I mean, we talked about everything. At the end of it, she looked at me and said, I want to thank you for answering questions. that didn't even, she asked me about Minnesota, Minneapolis. She asked me about all these things about how I felt. And I said, I'm not afraid to answer a question. I want people to know me. Do you want to know why these podcasts are so wonderful? Is because you're getting more about a person than just a snippet on the news, which you know better than anybody else.
I do. 30 seconds
That's
is the
right.
best you get.
That's right. Now people are getting to know us, getting to know who I am. And I think it's important. I do.
I do too. I think it's very exciting. I think it's difficult when you have a voting day on February 3rd. Cold weather like this, people don't want to go to the polls. I had lunch yesterday with a good journalist, fabulous investigative reporter. He says, let's do dinner, but we don't go out when it's this cold. Well, the cold doesn't stop me from
Right.
doing what I have
Right.
to do. In fact,
Right.
we joked how all of us during the blizzard of 77
I remember that.
had to get to work.
I remember that.
And there was three of us who got Irv Weinstein on the 11 o'clock news that night. But, and you look back at how many years ago that was in the blizzard of 85. And I was working with Dave Thomas at the
Wow.
time,
Wow.
doing the weather outside and the snow kept coming down. But this is Buffalo. We're used to it and we can handle it. The poor people in the South this weekend, they can't handle the snow. They don't have the equipment that we do, but we got to give our highway departments the equipment to plow. We got to give our schools what they need in terms of school buses and whether or not I put an electrified bus out there. If it gets stuck on a thruway, kids going from Amherst down to Hamburg to play a sport and they get stuck and the battery goes dead.
And I want to say something to what you just said, and we can close here, but I think that what's really important that we say this. Them too, just like the police and the fire, just like every person that's in every job, every building around here, they never ask you who you are. They never ask what your affiliation is. The highway people ask you affiliation before they plow your streets,
Nope.
or they cut your trees, or they do any of that stuff.
Nope.
They don't. We need to remember that. We need to remember that is what we are inherently about. We don't ask.
Well, if you did ask, you were a Democrat, became a Republican. The Democratic Party today is not what the Democratic Party was in the day of JFK.
That's right.
I
It's
mean,
a different
I
party.
haven't had anybody ask what you can do for your country, not what your country can do for you.
And neither is the Republican Party.
It's not perfect.
That's not perfect. They both have their issues.
Absolutely.
But here's the point. When you have so many people leaving their parties,
Yep.
that goes to show you that we've had enough. This divisiveness has to stop.
Amen.
And my opponent is divisive. He is absolutely, that is his personality, that is who he is,
So
that is what he's done.
He's the way he was brought up. He's
That's
a
right.
political boss.
That's right. And guess what? I have no problem in having that debate. I have no problem in having that discussion because people should see our characters. That's what they should see, who we are and what we are.
I like that.
Don, thanks again.
Dan the man? You
Next-
are the man.
Until next week.
Okay, bud.
All right,
Thanks.
pal. Thanks. I'm gonna get this down eventually.